announced as the president's preferred choice for the position. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. Very grateful. You're right. We have not met for a few weeks now.
Unfortunately, your line is a little muffled. I don't know how.
I hope it's better now.
Far better. I can hear you clearly.
Thank you.
Clearly
So much.
now. Now, first, let's start with the issue of the allowance. I'll come to what you've met at the National Service, but the issue of the allowances, I've seen 3 months. Which months have you cleared?
We had some outstanding August, some for September, October, November, December, and January. So all these have been cleared.
August through to January?
Yes. We had about 10,700 people whose August, same number for September. And then the actual, the regular service persons, they December and January.
Okay. So for the regular national service person, November, December, January. But there were some people who had from August.
Yes, please.
So all those have been paid, as I understand.
Yes.
Because
I can see of His Excellency the President, John Mahama. He realized that throughout his campaign, it's something that he lamented and was so worried about, that considering the meager allowances of service persons, it was quite difficult to understand why their service allowance would be delayed and would not be paid on time, taking them through such stress, especially at a time when we were facing such harsh inflationary pressures. So when it come to office, our instructions were very clear that we should do everything to clear the arrears that are owed to service persons. And true to his word, once we provided the accurate numbers or near accurate numbers, the Minister of Finance, within minutes, gave instruction for funds to be released for the payment to clear all these areas. And for that, we are very grateful to him, His Excellency the President, for his compassion and his deep love for the youth of this country. The Minister of Finance was extraordinary in his the speed with which he ordered for this payment. He didn't waste literally minutes. It was done. Of course, the Honorable George Pariado, our Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment, never slept until we got paid. From the day he got to the office to the day the funds hit the account, he never sat down. Physically crisscrossing between the Ministry of Finance, the Controlling Accountant General, and the National Service Headquarters itself to make sure that our data is accurate and we'll be ready to pay all the arrears owed service persons. And these are extraordinary gentlemen. We continue to wish them well, even as they start their terms in office.
I see. Because I also saw a gentleman who showed, I don't know whether it's a slip of the payment. He was complaining that he got only January. He didn't get December and November.
We are paying over, I mean, if you look at it that way, so we're paying 70,000 of the regular service persons times 3. So we're paying over 200 and something thousand individual payments. There could be a glitch here or there. This morning, I'm expecting the report from Gibbs. If this gentleman reach out to his office, and then we can confirm that his payment has been made to him, it will be done almost instantly.
So for those like him who haven't gotten, maybe they are owed 3 months, they haven't gotten the 3 months, you said they have to reach out to... Hello? One or
two people would have issues. And then it does happen. So, I mean, it will be rectified and their funds will be sent to their Ghana Pay account.
Well, that's one thing that you've dealt with. The other thing that you've, of course, come to meet is, because when you were mentioning the numbers, is it 70,000 times 3, so you are looking at over 210,000
individual payments.
Yeah. And I realize that you also use the word near accurate numbers. So Are you sure you haven't paid any ghosts? Hello, Felix. Hello, Felix. I think we're having difficulties with his line. We keep losing him. We'll try and get him back on the line and continue the conversation with him. So we'll call him back. We'll call him back. Acting Director, Ghana National Service Authority. Remember, like I said, there's been an investigation ordered into the activities of the National Service before he came. So this is something that he came to meet this. It's not like as if it is something that is. But once he's walked into the office, it means that even the numbers he's looking at, question is, that's why he says near accurate. Near accurate. So you can never be so sure. But I think they did some vetting. So I was asking him whether he's sure they had not paid some of the goods that are being investigated. So we are still having a conversation with him on some of the difficulties, some of the things he's met in office. Felix, we're having difficulties with you there. Can you hear me now?
I can clearly.
Great. So I was asking whether you've not paid any ghosts.
Well, I would explain it this way. There are clear pathways to achieve the sanctity of the payroll. So at any point in time, as the Director General, the consultant or deployment team will reach out to you and say that, okay, I have noticed this. Should I go on to delete or reach out to the people to sanctify the payroll? As a responsibility of the Director General, you have an obligation to make a decision. If you make the right decision, you will enhance the sanctity of the payroll. If you do not, there will be doubts about the payroll. There are some outstanding issues that we have to clarify. For example, people who did not register with their Ghana card. We still have over 5,000 of them in the system. This morning, I have instructed the consultant to give me order list. We are going to reach out to these individuals and give them opportunity, if they indeed exist, to come to our offices with their Ghana card to verify that they are indeed the people in our payroll. That issue are universities that do not have accreditation with the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. There are a few thousands of them also there. So it is a process that we are going to. If these people do not show up by Friday, I will go up to delete these names. That would mean that we will have about 10,000 less people in our payroll to pay for February.
I see. So you have already identified 10,000 people who fall within these brackets that you just talked about?
Yes, clearly. There's also another part that we probably have to also identify. People who are on the payroll who are over 40 years. I think by law, you are not allowed to do national service after 40 years. There was probably a lax in enforcing these regulations at some point. But we do not expect people who are over 60 years, 70 years to be doing national service. People that you physically can easily recognize that they are way over 50 years. For those people, we are going to delete immediately. That would also mean that our payroll is going to reduce further. But then we have to give opportunity to reach out to these people and see if they do exist. And we've been working on them. Our district directors have been on them. I'm sure that by next week Friday, for all these people on these parts, they will be cleared if there's no valid reasons why they are on our payroll.
You have people on the national service payroll who are over 40. You said you've seen 50 years.
Yes. I should be clear about that. And for all of them, the consultant wrote to the former Director General and asked that this is the situation. Should I go ahead and delete? Should we clear them off? This is my 17th day in office. I think that we need to exercise a bit of patience for these people. If you have not registered with Ghana card and you are indeed serving, we would want you to still continue to do your service. However, if you do not exist, 1 week should be clear enough to give us this indication.
Have you paid anybody who is 50 years?
Well, there are some people on the list. We segregated them. I'm waiting for a certain reaction to be advised on what to do. So we are not using one particular approach to make sure that we reach our desire. And then obvious accountability for the people who should be on our payroll. I cannot discuss all of them with you for obvious reasons, because national service has become such that if people know the next step you are going to take, they prepare for you.
Okay. But thus far, have you heard from your predecessor on what to do? Because you said you reached out to him.
Well, an answer was given when he was asked to delete people without he thought that there was an election year. But you know what, Sana, the security agencies are doing investigations. I do not want to speak to suggest that we.
Oh, well, we'll get him back, because I just want to ask him how they intend to clean up the payroll then, knowing that this clear things, because these things have been identified. Now, that payroll has been handed to him. So you look through the payroll. He's talking about people who haven't registered with a Ghana card, institutions that have persons on national service that are not properly accredited. So those are two. And then the overage thing that he was talking about, overage thing that he was also talking about. You're talking about the investigations and how that limits what you can say.
Yeah, so I do not want to preempt the findings of the investigation. However, we, even as we speak, have obligations to make sure that our service persons around the country are safe, they are working, and then their payments are regular. So for that work on a daily basis, that would have to go on, including our project site, of course. But the investigations are also separate and being carried out by constitutionally mandated bodies who are also obligated to do investigations when there are allegations of malfeasance. So I would want to keep these separate.
But in the meantime, I guess you have a payroll to clean up.
Yes, and that we are doing quite stringently.
That's one aspect. But I also wanted to find out, why is it important that people register with Ghana card? Because there are other IDs that can be used. If I have a passport, I cannot register with it. What's the modality that has led to you insisting that Ghana card should be the ID for registration?
As it stands, the Ghana card is probably the most advanced in terms of its security features and the biometric features it has and everything. So it was safe to rely on the Ghana card to have a foolproof verification of service persons. So that is what it is. And I'm sure if we decide to go on the passport pathway, we would have challenges. But for the Ghana card, virtually everybody has it at the moment. It's just not a Ghana card. For all those who came with without the Ghana card, there's also a confluence of other evidence that suggests that actually these people are suspected to be not regular service persons. So yes, you don't have Ghana card, but when you look at it closely, other evidence also suggests that these people might not be regular service persons. Of course, there are other issues that would put nobody in any doubt about the conclusions that we have come to, that the security services will come to. But you do not also want to put this out. It would offend sensibilities. The security people are on top of it. I think that we should allow them to be on top of it, to do their work and come to a conclusion, and hopefully they'll make it all public so that we can put this behind us once and for all.
Aside the issue of the payroll, which you obviously have to clean up, which is already a public matter, what else have you identified in your few days in office?
Well, the payroll is it's it's a disaster. But what is even more shocking and disturbing are the project size. That the schemes or the authorities' leadership conceived beautiful ideas to go into farming and other projects. Very fantastic, good ideas. But the implementation was so shoddy, you would quickly come to the conclusion that the only reason why they put these projects together was to just fleece the money themselves. It's just unbelievable how anybody, or a public servant of Ghanaian descent, working with Ghanaians, working for Ghanaians, would come to such results. That the scheme has spent millions of Ghana cedis, and through the kind courtesy of some development partners, I don't want to mention their name, releasing good amounts of money, and then there's no results for it. Absolutely no results for it. It's just shocking. It's unbelievable if you see what has happened over there. But the Honorable Finance Minister has asked for forensic audit. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it will start soon enough, and then some of these will be made public as we go on.
Is it about the monies that are pumped into the project side or the state of the project sites? What's the challenge really?
Well, you know what? We've had two borehole machines, for instance, and I have asked it. Okay, if the borehole machine were not working, how come it's done 50,000, 100,000 kilometers, and there's no money to show for its usage? The scheme bought a Scania payloader, which has done tens of thousands of kilometers. Yet there's no corresponding income for the work that it has done. The scheme has spent 33 million Ghana cedis, over 33 million Ghana cedis, to clear a 20,000. Well, not all has been done so far, and they planted nothing on it. Whereas they could have gone to lands that were already ready for farming. So why do you go and then clear virgin forest to start farming when there are farmlands in a Branham, Kota, that we could easily go and use? You quickly come to a conclusion that these contracts were given just so that people will be paid money, because you cleared the land, but you never farmed on them. So what was the reason for clearing these lands and paying so much to your contractors that were engaged? If your motive was to clear the land and farm, what sort of planning went into place just so that you could clear so much land and pay the people, but there was no money to start the farming itself? So it is bizarre, and there are no words to explain the disaster.
33 million Ghana cedis to clear land.
Of course, yes, and they even owe the gentleman.
After spending 33 million Ghana cedis.
Yes, and then my thinking was that, why didn't you buy the bulldozer yourself? Because the bulldozer would have worked for months, probably they could work for 5 years on guarantee, and you would not have to pay for repairs or anything. Meanwhile, the scheme had its own bulldozer that has been has spoiled and has been left in the bush to burn down. If you were a businessman, or these machines belong to you, or the agency, you were sheltered in the agency, is that how you were going to run it? So this says quite a lot about the individuals who manage the authority, rather than their creed, their religion, or wherever they came from. I mean, how do you manage a situation such that we came to meet nothing in the accounts? Whereas in 2016, Professor White left 350 million Ghana cedis in the account. We came to meet zero balances.
Zero balance. A land cleared with nothing planted on it. A payloader that you clearly can see has moved many distances.
Yes.
Same with a borehole machine, two borehole machines. But no record of any money spent.
No record of any money that the scheme has received for work done.
I see.
It is sad.
The land that they spent 33 million Ghana cedis to clear, how big is the land?
Well, the scheme came to a conclusion that they wanted to buy land and went to Kumewu, Central Farm Plains, and bought 20,000 acres. Why would you buy 20,000 acres of land when you don't have capacity to till them? And then of all these acres, they were able to till only 10 acres of the land in tomato farming. So last week I sent some professors and a team there to go and have an assessment and then plan how we are going to farm this year. Because we have signed contracts with some development partners to do a 4-year program. That program, I think, is very good and must go on. And clearly, we have met several times, and they have seen the disaster the first year has become. But the next 3 years will not be in that manner.
You do have a lot to do. Let's find time so that you pass by the studios and let's have a much more extended conversation on these issues.
Thank you, Senator.
But thank you for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's FELIX GYAMFI. Been in office for less than a month and already